Yeah, I think like I was trying to before. I was trying to think about where I would put it. I think right above my head at the top of the screen,
Yeah,
or
that would be perfect. And then throw the channel on there too. Like
oh yeah,
channel for the game, tip time, because that's why I throw on the lean sheet and people really dig that.
yeah. I agree. We need to add that. People have said that in the comments too. It's definitely a good addition.
You might be able to do it vertical between like after the
Well, I
seven
was
and
thinking I
before
can
the
move the
D.
total over to the left in between the two spinning logos.
Yeah.
We're live, by the way. What's up, everybody? We were talking about adding the tip time for games to the graphics so you can see it. And I think we're going to do that. The NBA All-Star break, obviously, I have some free time that I never have. So
Right.
during those few days, I'm going to update a few things, and I think that's going to be one of the additions. So hope everyone had a great weekend. Patrick Mahomes wins the Super Bowl. No, I'm not going to talk about it. I've heard enough. Football's over. We'll talk about football in August. It's basketball season now. March Madness right around the corner. I actually was looking at some conference tournament schedules, seeing how we were going to do that production-wise. Very excited. As far as college basketball tonight, really not much, but we got 3 games we're going to go through, and then both Oaks and Toast have some mid-majors. They both have a mid-major game they want to give out, so we'll get into that at the end. So, first up, TWD's back. TWD is back in the comments. Sorry, we got Wake Forest on the road at Duke. +7. Duke -7. Pass. All right, gentlemen. Andrew, you have the floor.
Yeah.
Would you like 7 points with Duke?
No, this is my favorite game of the day in terms of the actual game. These are the two very matched up teams. I like these two teams. I like Wake a lot. The one thing that's still sticking in my head, and I know Toast knows this, that UNC game, the game Wake Forest played at UNC, that was stuck in my head throughout this entire process of going through this game, because they went and laid an egg that day, and that was the only time they've done that this year. Is they were completely mismatched, and like that was my fear about, will they do that against Duke? I don't think they will. I think they kind of had their slow game on Saturday. They barely beat NC State at home, so that was kind of their slow before they really, because they've been looking at this game for a while. So I think they're ready for this one. I think they match up with Duke pretty well. I think they can hit threes quickly. They can score quickly. So I think they match up with them well. So I'll take Wake Forest there.
Someone said my mic is way louder than everyone else. Let me just...
He likes it like that.
Hopefully. Oh, wow. No, I can see it definitely is. Hold on. Let me fix that. Filters. That should make it a little better. How's that? Better? Sounds good. All right. So let's move on to Toast next. Do you agree with Andy's? It seems like the comments are like in Wake Forest plus the points also, by the way.
Yeah, I think I personally, and I forgot to text you and I apologize. I think the over's better. I think over 152 maybe it's 154 now. I don't think it's going to matter. I think that one thing with Wake Forest the last few games is that we've seen the tempo kind of jump up even more. The last 3 games, 74 possessions, 72 possessions total in those games. That's a lot, and I think you're going to see that up and down. I think Duke won't mind running with them, especially now with guys like Proctor and stuff all healthy and all good to go, stuff like that. So Duke's one of those teams that plays a lot better at home, so I trust that. But Wake Forest can play. I mean, Hunter Silas and all them is definitely – I can understand. I guess I can say I can understand where Andy's coming from, but I think the over's better. I think there's going to be up and down. I think Wake Forest is going to have some issues on the board with Filipowski, so Duke could have some easy second chance points. Wake Forest shoots free throws really well. Both teams shoot the 3-ball really well. I just think we see a whole bunch of points here tonight.
Someone said, Young Petro says, Wake Forest runs a slow pace. I guess that would worry him about the over.
I mean, I just mentioned, like I said, their last 3 games are all 74 possessions, so I'll take my chances.
All right. And here comes Oaks, a.k.a. Toast new nemesis. No,
I was just about to say, I took a shot at Toast last time. I'm kind of with Toast here. I lean the over as well at 153.5. But I like Duke -7 here as well. Wake Forest just absolutely sucks away from their own building. And I've gotten burned on them a bunch. They're 2-5 against the spread, and they fall to 0-4 against the spread as road dogs. Wake is 1-5 this season against the spread as a dog as well. This team hates to cover a number no matter how many points you give them. It's not like Duke's a wagon. Duke's 8-6 against the spread at home and as home favorites, and 5-6-1 against the spread in the ACC. But Duke will clean up defensively on the glass because Wake can't get offensive rebounds to save their lives. Duke should do a really good job limiting Wake Forest second chance points here. Like you guys said, Wake is completely automatic from the free throw line. As a team, they hit 80.2% clip. That's good enough for number 2 in the nation. So do not put this team at the stripe. Theoretically, that makes them a tough backdoor cover on large numbers. But like I said, they stink against the spread this season, and especially away from their own building. That NC State game was a rubber match for them too. Like the last time they played head-to-head, the refs really took control of the game. They gave out a couple of technical fouls and threw a bunch of people out of the game. So if you didn't have the stones to get up for that NC State rubber match, then I don't think you're going to get up for this game away at Duke. Like you guys mentioned, Wake shoots a ton of threes and a ton of deep balls from the mid-range. And if Duke can stop that, they should be able to cover. Duke gets to the paint and finishes at the rim much better than Wake Forest does. This one might come down to free throws. I give Duke the edge in the turnover battle as well. I don't love laying -7, so I will probably end up taking the over with Toast, but I think Duke can cover this -7.
Based on what they're saying, I feel like the move would be Duke team total over 8.5. And I don't follow college basketball as closely as these guys, but I was just going based on what these guys said. Maybe Duke team total over.
Yeah, I could definitely see that too.
So we got 47% on Duke, 38% Wake Forest. So Duke wins the poll. Andy is on a Wake Island. Next.
I'm used to it.
Next up, we got West Virginia on the road at TCU. TCU cash for me. I bet them at home a couple times this year, and they've come through. They're laying 12.5 points in this one, though. This is a serious one. West Virginia.
What's the TCU's football coach name? That little short guy with the hat?
Sonny Dykes.
Dykes, yeah.
Oh, that's not the guy I was thinking of.
Sonny Dykes. All right, West Virginia on the road at TCU. 12.5 points. True or false? That's too many.
Maybe a
true.
hair?
I guess. I don't know. True, I guess. I don't know. False. I go over. Over again.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I sent this out to the VIPs as well. This West Virginia team is just in shambles right now. They just gave up 94 to Texas, and prior to that, they gave up 86 to BYU. TCU's lost 2 games in a row. I feel like this is type of a get-right spot. Both of these teams play decent pace, nothing like crazy good, but both middle of the pack in the conference. West Virginia can really shoot the 3-ball well, but defensively they're kind of trash. So I can see a lot of easy buckets for TCU because of their rebounding and how well they play in transition. And I can see West Virginia just shooting up a whole bunch of meaningless 3-balls. So I like the over here. I also played TCU money line and Texas Tech money line, but I'll talk about that when we get to the Tech game.
I'm down to lay it here with TCU -12.5. I remember I did a video, and this is a crazy reasoning, but I did a video on it was a TCU, I think it was Texas Tech game at home, and me and Andy went through the TCU home away splits, and this was 2 weeks ago now, and they were impressive. So I have it in my head. TCU is a bet on team at home.
It's a tough barn.
12.5 points too. That's a statement line. We know West Virginia sucks, so yeah, I'm down to lay it here. Let's bring up Oaks. Let Andy back clean up.
They suck too, because Raekwon Battle is like one of the best players in college basketball. Like, not best, but I love watching him.
Yeah, the problem is, like, obviously with West Va is that Huggy got fired. Like, yeah, that really kind of threw the program into a
How
whole
long was
kind
he
of,
there?
What's up?
Long time.
I feel like he was there my whole
time.
life.
And Huggy Bear is one of the he's one of my favorite coaches in the NCAA. I think it's a little bullshit. They fired him over a DUI. Like, I get it. He's a college basketball coach, but come on, it's West Virginia. I think the legal limit down there is like 0.18 before you can't drive. So, anyway, I kind of lean the under here, but I don't love it, and I lean the under because I just don't think West Va is going to get very many buckets. I like the TCU team total over. I think you can be fine laying the minus 12.5 here, Swass, because TCU, like I said, they should run riot. TCU has a really tough barn. They're coming off of a really tough home loss against Texas, which is a Texas in-state rivalry. It's not a stretch for either of those teams to get up for that one. And then they're coming off of a really tough road loss at Iowa State. They need to get right here versus a really bad West Virginia team. We already covered how West Va lost Bobby Huggins. All of West Virginia's big wins, they come at home. West Virginia hasn't covered a single game on the road this season. They're 0-5 against the spread and 5-10 against the spread as dogs this season. TCU isn't great. They're 7-5 against the spread at home and 6-5 against the spread as home favorites. Both of these teams like to push the pace and play in transition. TCU is just better in about every single defensive metric. TCU is going to create turnovers, and West Virginia is extremely sloppy with the basketball. The only thing West Virginia does well is they get to the free throw line and shoot a ton of free throws, but they do not knock them down and convert them into points. For me here, Jameer Nielsen for TCU is a stud, and West Virginia has no answer for him.
All right, so if you didn't catch what he said you would lean TCU minus 12.5, TCU team total over. So, yeah. All right, let's bring up Andrew, batting cleanup. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely like TCU minus 12.5. The only thing I'd be concerned about is they're turning the ball over a lot because they run a fast pace. I think that's fine. You get extra possessions while you give them away. Don't really worry about that with West Virginia. I think I like Toast's over. I think TCU in this one might score 70, 80 themselves. So I think this will be pretty ugly.
All right, so everyone kind of leaning TCU. Toast on the over. Poll is heavy on TCU, 66% to 18%. So you guys, viewers, loving TCU in this spot. All right, it looks like we're a TCU program. Next up, this is the last game we got queued up, but then we have some mid-rate majors to talk about right after. All right, we got Kansas at Texas Tech. I'm bringing Andy up first.
This is tough because of the injury to Harris. I'm a little worried about that. I don't know if he's been ruled in or out. I think it was still questionable. I know they're out without McCullers. Even without McCullers, I think Kansas wins the game outright. If Harris doesn't play, I might have to just change that completely. So right now I'll lean Kansas, but if we find out that Harris isn't playing, then I probably would side Texas Tech. That would just take a lot of firepower out for Kansas. I do think it's a good spot for them to bounce back on the road. I know they're coming off a loss to your arch rival on the road. It's always the next game's pretty bounce back worthy. They played pretty well on Saturday too. They probably should have covered, but late in the game they kind of took their foot off the pedal. So I'll lean Kansas right now, but I need to see if DeJuan Harris is going to play. So.
All right. Oaks, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, Harris out for Kansas is really bad. Kansas has guys, but they don't go their bench at all. They just play their starters pretty much constantly. I ended up with two bets on Kansas over the weekend. I took Kansas in a race to 10 versus Baylor, which paid out nicely with one of those boosts from, FanDuel or DraftKings. And then I took the Bears plus the 8.5. Really liked that line at open, and then it closed at like minus 5.5 because of the Harris news. I just thought that the Bears were catching way too many points there over the weekend. But anyway, Kansas is 1-0 against the spread as an away dog. 2-0 as dogs this year in general. So the only time Kansas is covering numbers is when they are dogs. They're 2-4 against the spread away this season. Kansas has lost their last 3 away games to teams like West Virginia, who we just talked about how bad they are. Tough barn to play in, but West Virginia is not good. Iowa State, which, again, a little bit of step up in class there. Ames is always tough to play. And then the rivalry game with Kansas State, which, that's one of the hardest environments to play in all the country when Kansas goes to Kansas State and plays. So I wasn't surprised that game went to overtime and State ended up pulling that out. TTU has definitely struggled this season, but they are better at home. It's a very tough barn to play in. TTU is 7-8 against the spread as favorites this year, and 6-7 against the spread as home favorites. Kansas isn't deep. They don't go to their bench much, so foul trouble can always be an issue for them. TTU shoots the 3 ball really well, and they will need to get hot from distance to win. Kansas does like to get to the paint and finish at the rim more. A fast-paced game here favors Kansas because they like to push the tempo and play in transition, whereas TTU likes to slow the rock down. Both of these teams suck at covering numbers, but Kansas is in more desperate need of a win, in my opinion, especially a road win for their resume. I like getting this number above a full possession. Give me the Jayhawks and the points.
Kansas plus 3.5 for him as well. Toast, are you on Texas Tech?
Yeah, I'm on Texas Tech, but I did the money line. So I bet it yesterday. It kind of went crazy. So the best way to combat that is I did TCU money line, Texas Tech money line together, and it's like 125. And I think that's the best way to do it. I respect this Kansas team, but as these guys touched on, the injuries are going to be a killer. When Dwan Harris scores, I think double figures. I think Kansas is like 14-1 in his time there. But they also touched on the fact that Kansas is really not deep. 342 in the country in bench minutes. So once they get those starters off the floor, they're really going to have some issues. And I think they're going to have issues tonight because not only does Texas Tech doesn't play the same defense that we know and love, but they're like the best team as far as three-point shooting, free throw shooting, efficiency at the rim, all that good stuff as far as on the offensive side is concerned for Texas Tech. And then not to mention the fact that Hunter Dickinson is a good big spot for Kansas, but guess what? Texas Tech has a 7-footer named Warren Washington that I think can be able to make life trouble for Hunter Dickinson. So I think that Texas Tech can win this game. They've lost a couple games in a row. They really need this game. I'm sorry, they've lost like 3 or 4. They won their last game on Saturday against UCF. But anyway, this is like a must-win situation for them. So yeah, I'll take my chances with TCU.
Yeah, I guess I'm on an island here on Texas Tech minus 3.5. I watched every single minute of that Kansas State game, and then I watched every single minute of the Kansas Houston game. Are those the same teams? What the hell? Because Kansas went into Houston, and I was like, yo, this might be the best team in college basketball. I bet Houston, and I was like, this team is unstoppable. But then in the Kansas State game, I don't even think I had a bet on it, to be honest. I think I just had it on one of the TVs because I think it was one of the only games on that night, or maybe whatever, yeah. But I watched it, and I was like, is this the same Kansas team? Like, yeah, defensively, Kansas State was getting to the rack, scoring. It was awesome. Great game to watch. I'm on Texas Tech here.
Kansas State in that game, they're, projections, Ken Palm, a couple other sites I use to help put together projections. Kansas was favored in that game by about -8, -9. The books respect, and everybody, the public, anybody who knows college ball respects that barn so much that's why it was like -4.5, because it's one of the toughest environments in all of college basketball to play in. Also, I've been saying it all year, Houston are frauds. They're not going deep in the tournament. They don't play a good enough brand of basketball to go deep in the tournament.
So you can't that.
You can't be bottom 300 in the NCAA at making free throws and go deep in the tournament. Nova knocked them out by putting them at the line all game. Every year, Houston gets knocked out of the tournament by a team who knows, don't let them shoot the 3, put them at the line, watch them choke, keep it under 60.
Well, first, I said I'm on an island by myself with Texas Tech. That was wrong. Toast is leaning Texas Tech also, but he got it the money line early before the line went up. That's why it doesn't say Texas Tech minus 3.5 underneath them. And Toast, what are your thoughts on Houston not going far in the tournament?
I think he's higher than shit, is what I think. I mean, you're talking about a Sweet 16, Elite 8, a Final Four, a Sweet 16. They got knocked out in round 1 in 2017, 2018. There is nothing to think that this Houston team isn't going to be a second weekend team. There's nothing in the world to think that.
Watched them lose to Nova, who
I
only
remember
run 6 guys and held them to 58 points.
Show me a team in the country that doesn't have 2 or 3 bad performances. Just show me one.
I'll show you Texas Tech getting knocked out every year in the tournament, scoring under 70 points because they can't make free throws.
Just want 3 teams that don't have any blemishes.
According to John Rothstein, Bill Self said that DeJuan Harris should play today. So that does.
So maybe I could get Texas Tech at a better number.
Yeah.
Maybe. Depending on if they officially rule him in.
No.
Maybe. I don't know.
Our poll is dead split on this one. So it looks like we are all we're split on the show. Those 2 guys to the left, like Kansas, being totally Texas Tech. The 47%, 45% Kansas and Texas Tech. So we are truly 50-50 down the board on this game. That's actually the last game we have queued up. But Toast and Oaks both had a mid-major game they wanted to talk about. Any particular, you guys want to go first, or?
I'll let Toast go first.
Yeah, I have Toast up on the big. So, well, yeah, go ahead. I'll put the pick up for you.
Yeah. So I just took Texas Southern plus 2.5. I think it's down to 2 right now, but Texas Southern isn't. I think we're only getting them at this price because of the spot they're in. It's a bad spot for them. 3rd game in a row, 2nd game on the road in 3 days. But I guess you can worry about that, but they've had a little bit of trouble on the road, but they've been really good for essentially the last 2 months right now. So there's no reason for me to think that just because they're in a bad spot, they can't win this game. Texas Southern plays through their defense. They're one of the best defenses in the conference, and their offense needs a little work, but defensively, I just don't really see Cookman scoring that much. So I'm more than happy to take 2.5 points. I had this game Texas Southern -2, so me getting points, I had to take it.
You can still get, I'm actually going to bet it right now. You could still get Texas Southern plus 2.5 on DraftKings. You got to pay a -115 juice, but you can get it.
I paid the same. I paid the 115 myself.
Yeah, I'm going to bet that right now. And then we'll get, 1 second. All right, hold on. I will bet that. Now let's bring Oaks up. He has a game he wants to talk about as well. One of the lesser known games. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'd call this a mid-major. I got 2 real quick for you. At first, I was leaning the under on this one, but I'm going to go ahead and take Texas A&M Corpus Christi -2.5. That just popped up while we were talking pre-show over on MGM. The rest of the market is all sitting at -3. I would much rather have the -2.5 than the -3 because I don't want to push. But
you could still get 2.5 on BetMGM, but FanDuel has got this one up at 3.5 now.
Yeah. So I would move on this quick. Don't go outside of a full 3-point possession either. -3 is okay. -2.5 if you can get it. I also lean the under 140.5 because A&M Corpus Christi and Nicholas both can't make buckets. Corpus Christi is going to absolutely feast on the glass at both ends. Both of these teams are outside the top 300 in D1 in every offensive metric besides Nicholas on 3-point percentage, which is a blistering number 210 in the nation. So both teams will find themselves at the free throw line a lot, but they both suck at knocking them down. The reason I'm going with Corpus Christi is they're the number 2 team in the NCAA against the spread. They're 15-4 this season against the spread. 10-2 as an away team, and 3-1 as road favorites. So give me Corpus Christi -3. And last but not least, I'm going to take Prairie View A&M on the money line.
Oh, I didn't even have this one queued up. Go ahead.
It's all good. You could get Prairie View A&M on the money line at -111 over on FanDuel. And Prairie View, they like to push the pace and play in transition. They have active hands. They create a lot of steals. They create a lot of turnovers, and they turn those steals and turnovers into fast break points. They're going to pound the paint. A majority of their shots come from inside and close to the rim. They're the team who shoots sixth closest to the basket in all of NCAA, according to Haslametrics. I think that getting to the paint, drawing contact, making your free throws, and winning the turnover battle is a great formula for winning on the road. Forget the points, take the money line.
Jake Harder Cars says Florida is going to stomp Prairie View.
Okay. I mean, I would love to know what two teams that are below the top 300 qualifies as a stomping, but we'll see.
So I put this parlay down while these two guys were talking based on their picks. I just moneylined the two of them. A&M Corpus Christi money line and Texas Southern money line. It's a plus 246. Why not? Last time I placed something down live during the show was that teaser, and it ended up hitting.
And we crushed it.
Yeah, so screw it. I'm doing it again. Yeah, all right. Thanks for watching, guys. Not many games on the board. We'll be back tomorrow, Tuesday. I think Scoop will be back, so I don't think Oaks will be here tomorrow, but who knows with Scoop. So maybe
He needs to be back because I'm like 50-50 if my plane lands in time. So
Oh, that's right. You know what? So there's a chance Oaks will be back tomorrow if Toast.
Let me know.
Yeah.
I love tomorrowe's slate. We
Yeah.
got Big East ball.
Tuesday and Wednesdays
Tuesdays
are
and
good.
Wednesdays are my bread and butter. I love Tuesday and Wednesday college hoops.
Yeah, so yeah, the show will be back. It'll be me and Andy. Everyone else will see who's going to make it. How about that? And if you're waiting for the NBA show, there's 9 NBA games on tonight. I'll be back in 34 minutes. It'll be me. What's up?
Can I do a quick plug?
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Oh, yeah, my
So-
bad. Yeah, go ahead.
No worries. UCL, if you guys are soccer fans, Champions League is back Tuesday and Wednesday afternoon, 3 p.m. So same time as the college basketball show. I'll be doing a live show tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Follow me at 2Foot Talk on Twitter or my regular Twitter handle here, Burroaks77. I'll tweet about the show, but we're going to break down all the Champions League coverage. Champions League is basically Europe's soccer playoffs. So we're getting some awesome games this week. So yeah, we'll have plenty of midday action for Tuesday and Wednesday afternoon. Come check it out if you want some soccer picks.
Someone asked, what's the name of Toast channel? He's on this one. The name of Toast channel is Kyle Kirms on YouTube.
I don't do it for sauce. I ain't doing it for anybody.
Also he does a show. You just follow Oaks on Twitter. His stuff is on there.
Yep.
And yeah, so we'll be back. NBA 33 minutes, 9 games on the board. I got Josh Lander and Matt Modi today because Prop Beaver had a filling for a cavity.
He had a little dental.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
I laughed at that so hard, that text this morning.
Dude, he was like, I don't know, I just sustained
My tooth
speaking.
hurts. My
So-
tooth hurts.
So yeah, so Prop Beaver went to the dentist. So I have Matt Modi and Josh Lander be back in 33 minutes. In fact, let me set the graphics up for that show. See you guys in about a half hour.
The only reason I'm laughing is I can see you guys talking shit to him when